Get intimate to get rich. Yeah, today's video is all about why it's so important that you get really intimate with your money so that you can get rich, so that you can have more, keep more, grow it in your life. I'm Ann Wilson, the Wealth Chef, and today we're talking about why it is so important that you get intimate with your money in order to actually have more of it, so that you can grow it, so you can give it great leadership. One of the things that we see so much of in our modern world is a disconnection from our money in both the inflow and the outflow. And the further we are away from our money in the interaction, the less we value it. And the less we value it, the less value we can get from it. And actually the poorer or the more depleted our wealthy life ends up being. So what does getting intimate with your money actually look like? Well, let's start with the inflow side. This is how money flows in. And the funniest thing is, the closer we are involved with our money, the higher we value it. So when money flows in, we value what we call earned money. We can see behaviors how people go, oh, but it's going to take me X amount of time to earn X or Y. So people will value that and go, think more about how they spend it or what they need to do with it. So the next category of inflow and income that comes in is that passive income. Now remember, we've got a whole other series of videos on exactly what passive income is. But this is money where your assets have earned money for you from any of those asset classes. So you haven't directly exchanged your life force. Now often because this money has just flowed into your money pots without you doing that direct money exchange, the weird thing happens that often we can feel, one, that somehow it's cheating money, that it's not real money, that we have to earn in order that money to be able to treat ourselves or go and spend that money, and so justify it. But it also can just be this disconnect. Because we're not doing that money exchange, sometimes we can just treat it more flippantly and allow it to flow out of our lives a lot easier. But there's a third category of inflow, and this is what I call free money. Yes, go and watch that video on free money. And this is money that comes from things like that tax rebate, gifts, found money. This is exchange of maybe barter where somebody's bought you a lunch or a coffee. That's that free money in your life, and we tend to value that the absolute lowest. And this category also covers things like a lottery win or inheritance, or sometimes even a divorce settlement or a life insurance payout. And the tragedy with this money is the money that you'll tend to find flows easiest out of your life, almost that easy come, easy go kind of belief. And the tragedy with this is often this money is the difference that can make the difference in terms of really living your rich, juicy life. So how do we deal with getting intimate with that money? On the inflow, it's really important to recognize that firstly, that every source of money is equal. That pound, that rand, that dollar, that cents, that euro, that Vietnamese dong, each of it has the same value in terms of its potential. So what happens when we don't neutralize it is that passive income money or that free money or that inheritance or that divorce settlement or that lottery win, it flows straight out of your life because it doesn't have that same value. And for example, recently a woman came and shared with me a story where she and her husband were in serious debt. They, for whatever reason, had got themselves into a big debt hole and were really on that financial oblivion knife edge. And her mother had recently died and left her a really pretty sizable inheritance, certainly a nice enough lump of money that could have significantly removed most of their debt, plus could have been converted and put into assets that could have continued to earn them that passive, juicy income, that whole point of what we're trying to get in terms of financial freedom. And so I asked her, what was she going to do with this money? And she said, oh, my mum would have really wanted me to have fun with this and really, go out there and do something great with this money. So my husband and I, we're going to spend a year on a cruise ships going around the world. And firstly, I was just incredulous. I thought she was joking, but then I realized she was absolutely dead serious. Because here's the thing, she didn't value that money the same as money she would have earned directly. And so she had created this whole story about her mother would have wanted her to do this. And the tragedy is that money just flowed straight out of her life so quickly because she hadn't neutralized it. And yep, less than a year later, she and her husband had to declare themselves bankrupt, purely because of the way they had valued that money. So that's the inflow. You neutralize it by putting it all into that same pot and let it get equal. All inflow is equal. So now let's go and look at the outflow side. This is the expenses side, and this is where there's even more value judgment in terms of how we deal with those outflows and how we actually exchange our money for the things that we bring into our life can make a massive difference of the value we get for it. So no surprises here. What is that kind of money exchange that we value the highest? Yes, good old cash. Cash is king or queen, whatever you want to talk about it, but when you've got it in your little paw and you hand it over, you get a real sense of what is that cost of something. And this is why one of the best ways to really reduce your outflow, if you're wanting to see how can you reduce your expenses, save some money, there is no better way than to spend a week or a month only using cash and tracking it, and you'll be amazed at how much money stays in your life as a result of just doing cash. So we value cash the highest because there's a real visceral exchange, and we have that connection between what did it take for us to earn that and now exchanging it. So cash is the top of what you value. The next one down is typically what we'll call a debit card kind of transaction, or for you Americans, you'll be called your check account or a check payment. Because again, typically it will come straight off a bank account, which we can see the result of that coming off our check account or our current account. And that's as close as you can get to cash, and it's also great because you can't go into debt using that credit or check account. The second hierarchy of what we value. So now the next category is where we actually now cross over into debt. And ironically, although debt costs us and costs our financial well-being and costs our stress and costs our anxiety and costs us in real money terms so much more than cash or using your debit card, we actually value it less. And because we value it less, it's easier to exchange and spend on that. So the highest debt value we have tends to be on something like an overdraft or a revolving credit. And we value that less than the debit card or the check account, but we value it more than pure credit on a credit card. So what does that mean is we find it easier to spend that money because we almost start going neutral. It's further away from us, this less intimate and this disconnection we have. So the fourth kind of outflow money is credit card. And it's just so easy to swipe. Yep, where you don't even look at what the bill costs and off it goes, and there's this disconnection. And why it's so easy to then just go and spend stuff on emotional knee-jerk on that credit card and that swiping, because it's not connected. And then the final and the most disconnected outflow is online transactions. And this is a relatively new outflow. Well, the last few years, where it's just got easier and easier and easier just to buy online, those online catalogs. And even worse, the good old Amazon or Takealot or eBay automatic one-click upsell, where you put your credit card details in online or maybe even linked to your PayPal, and you don't even have to go through that buying decision in order to buy something, where it's that Amazon Prime, that one-click upsell, that just get that thing on that account is so, so fatal. And these things can unconsciously build up. And I see time and time again well-chef clients having a real outflow challenge in that area of unconscious spending that just flows out, where this is completely disconnected. So the greatest way to get rich quick is to get intimate with your money. Neutralize the money coming in, value it all equally, and increase the value of your outflow by getting more cash or as close to cash kind of expenditure, so that you really get that sense of what is the value of your life force that you've had to exchange for that money, and making sure that you get the most when you consciously choose to exchange that money for something else and bring it in your life. So that's it for today. And in the comments down below, I would love to know which of these are the area that you're going to tackle first. Where have you got disconnected from your money, either on your inflow or your outflow? Are you going to try maybe a money detox and only deal with cash for a while and see what difference that makes in terms of the amount of money that flows out of your life? Share that in the comments below. And if you're watching this anywhere other than at thewealthchef.com, head on over there, because that's where all the great conversations happening. And while you're at it, subscribe to Wealthy TV right here so that you don't miss any of the great videos and content that comes live as we post it. So for now, get out there and live the life that you really deserve.